please.
All right. Can I ask you how you feel now that Florida and California have both voted that marriage is strictly between a man and a woman? Now that's taken biblically. I'm not talking about partnerships and commitments and all that sort of thing that people want to have that is not scriptural.
How do I feel now that Florida
Yes.
and California have voted about a definition of marriage?
Right. How are you going to address bishops and priests that will continue to argue and fight and say, we're doing it our way and not scriptural?
Well, there are different understandings of what Scripture says about marriage. And if you look at how our theology of marriage has developed over the centuries, it's quite interesting. Marriage in the Bible takes many different forms. It's often polygamous, many wives. It's rarely polyandrous, many husbands. Maybe the Queen of Sheba is an exception. But there are many different models of marriage. There is a tradition in the earlier part of Scripture called levirate marriage, and Jesus speaks about it kind of tangentially. There's an expectation that if a woman's husband dies, that she marries the brother, and on down the line until she's married the last brother, and then there's that question about what then. The early Christians, Paul particularly, discouraged people from marrying. They expected Jesus to come back right away. And he made that statement about, if you have to get married, that's probably a better thing to do than to burn with passion. But early Christians married less than the population around them. The church didn't bless marriages in the way that we understand that we do that today for a very long time. In the Middle Ages, marriage was treated as a property contract and as a contract about reproductive rights. And if you look at the development of the theology in the books of common prayer, the first ones talk about marriage as a way of avoiding fornication. By the time you get to the 1928 prayer book, it's about raising children. In this prayer book that's in the pews here, it talks about companionship and living holy lives together. That's quite a range of understandings about what marriage is for. Given that development, some people in the church are saying that marriage is not necessarily only between a man and a woman. Marriage is legal between same-sex couples in Massachusetts and in Canada and in Southern Africa and in several countries in Europe. The fact that we're wrestling with those questions now in ways that the Bible never really conceived of means that we have new and challenging theologizing to do. And we may come to different conclusions about what's appropriate in the church or what's appropriate in different parts of the church, but that doesn't relieve us from doing that challenging theological work. I don't think this issue is going to go away. I think we live in a time when people are taking seriously the need to build holy relationships and the possibility that a partnership provides for encountering the divine image of God in our lover day after day and year after year, and the growth that that can produce in both people. And there are some in the church who are suggesting that that opportunity might be available to same-sex couples in the way that it has traditionally been available to different sex couples. I don't know where we're going to end up, but I don't think we're going to be able to avoid the conversation.